Welcome to the Daddy Dating Advice channel. I hope that you're doing well out there. I hope that you're enjoying life. And let me pull up uh, my chat or my live so I can see the chat. Hope that y'all are doing wonderful out there. I'm being amazing and having some fun. And this video is for everybody. Again, I make videos for men. I make videos for women. I make videos for simply everybody. Now, if you're confused about the title, I wanted to make our live today, our video presentation. Treat this as a radio show or a podcast if you'd like. Sit back and listen. If you'd like to get engaged, I'd love to respond to your questions and your comments. So please get down there below. Also, please get engaged and like and support and help this channel to become a big success. I want to be, make this a dream come true for not only me, but for the world. There needs to be more voices of truth. There needs to be more voices of reason and a goodness out there for me and you. So welcome to my live, everybody who's coming in. Again, today the video is about is it a normal world out there? Not so much. Is it a small world? Kind of. I guess in the world of that we can fly everywhere or anywhere, but it's not really a normal world. Let's watch some of this video from Better Bachelor. Shout out to his channel. He's one of the best voices of reason and decency out there. Better Bachelor. Check out his channel and his video here. I can't believe I need to say this. Men can't get pregnant. Now, we're not going to focus completely on the birthing persons, birthing men, birthing women discussion, but we will get into it a little bit here, and we got a whole bunch more to show you. I'm going to talk about a little bit of international news, and then we'll get into a discussion about dating. And is dating normal? And what's going on regarding dating? Because nobody seems to know what are the social norms, what's socially acceptable, what's not socially acceptable, what is considered good, what's considered bad, how do you approach dating, what do you do? Are men supposed to approach? Are women supposed to approach? I mean, men don't even know what they're supposed to do or what they can do. But let's continue. Let's continue on and watch a bit of this video. Is it normal? Or is our society becoming more normal? Or is it becoming more strange? Stranger Things, maybe you could say.
Was the greatest thing that ever happened to men because it allowed men to not have to worry about being providers and husbands, and we're not shamed for staying single and spending our money on whatever we want, doing our own thing. And now it's okay to hire professionals, and because a spicy work is real work, and et cetera, et cetera. But now we're getting to the point where feminists aren't even supporting women anymore. They're supporting other causes, and they're throwing society, men, women, minorities under the bus for the newest, latest wokeism trend.
Okay, so I want to break this down here real quick. He's talking and starting his discussion here about feminism. And again, some people watching my channel, this is Daddy Dating Advice. I will be making more videos, like some top 10 lists and how you can be more attractive, how you can improve yourself as a man, and some other videos that will be very important going on. But I want to address this because feminism has become a very powerful aspect of our culture. It has dominated our culture for decades. It's considered the social norm, and a lot of people, if you want to live or exist, think that you have to play by the feminist playbook. Now, you don't. They don't have that much power, but they are certainly a huge and major influence. These people now, these feminists, they don't even care about women. They're hurting women. They're hurting women's sports. They don't even acknowledge that women, can have children. They're discouraging women from having children. They've openly attacked the family unit, happy families, for decades. But now they openly talk about that the purpose of feminism, and I'm not making this up, this is no theory, and I read it and I shared it with you, yesterday. I believe it was, yes, from the harvardcrimson.com, and there are many other sources who admit it as well, that feminism is about social justice. It is about social justice. It is about, changing society to be more whatever they think socially equal is for all people. There's not consequences. We should make things socially equal for trans and other people who don't want kids or can't have kids. Somehow, people are not responsible for themselves. Things have to be forced to be equal. If you're smarter, you work harder, you're more creative, you live by better principles, you sacrifice to raise children, you teach and want to, teach them correct principles, and you love them. Somebody else, these trans people, think that they have the duty and the right to raise and influence and dominate your children. So here at Better Bachelor, I'm happy that he's addressing this, because the feminist movement really doesn't care about even women anymore. They've thrown them under the bus, they've disregarded them, they've attacked them. Not only traditional women, but even feminist women. You have to go with this new trans and multigender agenda. They've also offended real minorities. They've offended the Asian communities. Now they've even ostracized and offended most of the Latin community with this Latin X talk, that they're trying to get rid of the gender or the masculine and female pronouns, and how the Spanish language even works. They want to change the Spanish language, completely change it and manipulate it into their new wokeism version of the Spanish language. So let's continue on with this video here. We're not going to watch the whole entire video, but we're going to watch a bit of it. Let's continue.
Which is the LGHD TV community, specifically focusing on the T portion of it. And so
yes.
I got us some stories that I want to go over today. Before we jump into that, though, I do have a fun story about talking with my general contractor who's helping me. So I'm having a cabin built. I don't have enough hardwoods. I've got a lot of pine and other things on the land.
He talks a little bit about his experience, that he's building a house. He, traveled and made himself like a live-in bus for a while, and he got to travel. He got to experience life. He got to have peace. He got to kind of do what he wanted to do, and now he's kind of distancing himself a little bit from the big cities. I'm not going to get too much in that discussion. Maybe I'll do a video about that, but that might be something that you're seriously interested in. And homesteading as well, especially if you want a family, if you want to step away from all the crazy people in these cities who will try to influence and will, one way or another, will influence your children, will target your children, and you'll have to step away from what is considered normal, like not bringing your children to public libraries and stuff. That's considered very socially normal. And you really got, if you do live in cities, you're going to have to do a whole lot of explaining, and it might go over your children's heads, and it's going to cause you a lot of stress, that's for sure. But let's continue on over here with some more of what he has to say.
I found it was interesting that now women are like, they don't care about us women anymore, that they're now moving into this far wokeism stuff, and now women are even being left on the back burner. And I'm kind of like, yeah, and she's not the type that would have ever been in for this kind of thing. She's married with kids and a very conservative woman, so she's not quite in on that stuff. So the reason why I picked this thumbnail for today.
So if you missed that part of his conversation, he's saying that he had a conversation with a lady. She's a family-minded woman, and saying that she would probably never be interested in this to begin with. But even women are starting to realize that feminism, it's not that it's necessarily gone too far, it's that it's wrong what they believe and what they're doing. They're not fighting for rights, they're not fighting for freedom, they're not fighting for representation. They're fighting for forced equality of not opportunity, not freedom. They're fighting for equality of outcome. So if you're a hardworking man with high testosterone and somebody else wants to take testosterone suppressant pills and write blogs, and maybe they aren't particularly successful at it, they think that they should get paid just as much as you and have just as much status as you, even if you work out every day, you have lots of muscles, you're well spoken, you're a very handsome man, you're very muscular, for example, and they think that they should have just as much status or representation as you. That's just a quick example. This is the kind of stuff that's going on. We're trying to force outcome where everybody's equal, and ultimately it's an attack at personal choice and personal values. So these people are saying, if I value a certain thing, they're gonna try to make that my choice, my priorities, my desires less important. That I can't fund, influence, or promote or encourage certain things. These are the same people who actually attack naturally skinny women, especially if they're naturally skinny and tall. They attack women who have certain body shapes and certain looks, and there's people openly out there who try to pretend as if certain models and again, maybe men shouldn't be going always after the most attractive women. That's not what this is about. But there's feminist women who openly try to pretend or lie that certain body shapes don't even exist, that they're not normal, that they're not biological, and they shun some of these naturally athletic or naturally curvaceous, not in the way they would like to say curvaceous, not in the you know overweight kind of curvaceous. Hey, more power to you if you're into that. But I'm talking about naturally, the hourglass shape. These feminists try to pretend that as if that does not exist. And there's actually a lot of women who are almost in hiding, or they just try to almost avoid society a lot. These people are coming after models. And he's about to talk about with Victoria's Secret that if you didn't know, there's a reason why people really don't talk about Victoria's Secret anymore. Um, it's a company that used to showcase extremely beautiful models as their as the models, and women would look up to them and want to look like them and want to dress like them, and they were promoting beauty. And this is the kind of thing that builds up civilizations where people idealize something of value. Is beauty the most important thing in the world? No. Can it go overboard? Oh, I definitely agree. We can prioritize beauty too much. And I do think it's a problem. I have seen it where there is pretty privilege, and people on YouTube or other places would rather watch somebody who maybe is less intelligent or maybe is not as well spoken or sophisticated, and would rather watch somebody and give them likes and clicks and subscriptions and money just because they're attractive, even if they don't have their ideas aren't as good, and they aren't as articulate, etc., etc. But this is more than that. They openly changed Victoria's Secret. The owner decided to come out as a full blown feminist, and get rid of the angels, get rid of the models completely, and change their company to be the Message. He's going to talk about that here in a second. The Message, Victoria's Secret. The purpose of our companies. This is the same meme. These memes that out there, they exist for a reason. They're real. What the meme where it's like somebody's it can be anything. It's like, why aren't we talking about some kind of representation in sports or something? And they're like, but Bob, this is a burger joint, we sell burgers. And then this employee is like, burgers, why are you talking about burgers? These companies have a responsibility. They have a purpose. They were created for a reason. They became popular for a reason, and often, a lot of times, they're taken over by people, the employees on the inside. But this is a case where the owner of the company, the owner, decided that we don't care about selling women's undergarments. We don't care about selling women's clothing and women's apparel anymore. We don't care about that anymore. That's not our purpose as a company. It's more important for us to sabotage the company if we have to, lose money if we have to, if we fix this beauty standard. We can't have women out here trying to be attractive or look have a certain expectation or a certain standard or a certain competition amongst themselves. Of course, they still have competition. We still have, the Fergies and the Fergielicious and these women out there, and they have a competition regarding looks and what kind of men they can get and how much money they have. But now it's unacceptable for women of certain looks and certain beauty standards, and maybe even certain ethnicities, that they aren't allowed to be seen as, the pillars of beauty. And again, it's some women, maybe you're unfairly judged. Maybe you should be treated more as a human. But I see a lot of women out there who pretend, and this goes into this argument that they're not treated fairly because of beauty standards. Now, in regards to jobs, yeah, there's preferential treatment for beautiful people, but you can't pretend as if you don't benefit, even if you're not a particularly beautiful woman. You can't sit here and pretend as if you don't benefit from men wanting to give money and privilege and you know give women the world just because they're women. Even if you're not particularly pretty, this still benefits you, but you just don't know that how much benefits you get, and how much you receive. Even if you're an average or slightly below average woman, you don't realize how, on dating apps, how many more messages you get compared to men who get little to nothing if they're average or below average. You can even be above average looking man. You could be a 6 or a 7 out of 10. You could be working a fairly good job, making 75 odd thousand, maybe more, and that is still a Joe Blow. That is still boring to most of these women, especially if you're below 6 foot tall. You could be 5'10". You could be well spoken, a gentleman, a fairly attractive, making a decent income, and you're just boring. You're Unless you're throwing money at these women for them to talk to you on OnlyFans or one of these webcam girls. These type of people, you're just boring. You're just boring. But let's continue. Let's continue on with this video.
Modern feminism is destroying world societies. This is Megan Rapinoe, as you know, one of the most unattractive people inside and out. And then, of course, this is a Victoria's Secret angel. And the two couldn't be more diametrically opposed.
Exactly.
I'm not doing a story on this for very long, but I wanted to start with this because I saw this in the news the other day. Victoria's Secret cuts 160 management roles in reorganization. And I said, oh, they're reorganizing. I guess maybe business isn't going so well. And apparently the stock has fallen off quite a bit about over the last 6 months. And I kind of went back a little bit and said, hey, why is it falling off a cliff? And because they scrubbed the Angels from its stores in a revamp exactly 1 year ago. And that's right when the stock started falling off. I don't know.
Exactly. This is the exact same kind of thing that these types of people try to do. Victoria's Secret was built on the Angels. That was their mascots. That was their cheerleaders. That was their thing. Really beautiful women. Beautiful women want to wear our clothes and apparel and undergarments, and you want to be like us, and you want to have a little secret. You want to be like a nod. You want to be women want to be a little naughty, and you want to have that. Have some fun. That's what Victoria's Secret was about. You get rid of get rid of your marketing, what built your company, what made your company famous, and then they're going to scream victimhood, especially when they start putting in the LGBTQ etc. And the women who are overweight and et cetera, et cetera, they start putting these types of models in there, and they don't get the same results, or their company starts even going, the company starts falling apart. They're going to scream that it's the same exact thing with Star Wars. You disrespect the fans, you insult what people actually want, you act as if there's something morally wrong with people for what they want, and you do this whole switcheroo, and then you pretend as if you are the victim. Victoria's Secret is going to make a blog piece in the future and act as if they are the victim, and they were mistreated by not only men but also women who are they're probably going to attack gender as well, heteronormative and certain beauty standards and all this. I hope that somebody makes a company that essentially was what Victoria's Secret was, because there are women out there who do want to feel feminine and look feminine and have high quality undergarments. And for some reason, Victoria's Secret thinks that this is it's not about being smart. They know that this isn't a good financial move. They think that this is the moral choice. They think that this is morally important. They think that this is morally significant. They think that this is something of a personal virtue, something that is essential, something that must be done. And sometimes they even lie to people and say that we'll be able to make the social change. We might lose money in the short term, but we'll make it up. We'll come on top, and we'll make change society, and we'll succeed in the long run. Sometimes you have to take a short term loss. And this is the kind of lies sometimes some of these people are being told as well, and some people buy into it. But let's continue. Let's continue on with this video and see what else they have to say.
If that's in the original story here, but they started somewhere in here. They said that right here through Thursday's close, Victoria's Secret shares have tumbled 34% since the start of trading in July 2021.
34%.
And I said, okay, that's kind of a weird timing, exactly a year. What happened July 2021? And here it is right here. They scrubbed the Angels from its stores in a revamp, and they started putting up pictures of big, bold, and beautiful women, BBWs, and they took away the Angels. And at the same time, let's see if they load up this page. There we go. And this is from June 2021. So again, a year ago, they officially ends its Angel era for brand overhaul led by Priyanka Chopra and Megan Rapinoe. They went woke, and they decided, they say right here, a newly announced group of celebrity activists that will rally around important causes and create products for the lingerie label. So they basically said, hey, doesn't matter what you look like or big, bold, beautiful, whatever, doesn't matter. Also, it's not about underwear anymore. It's about a message, a global.
And the points Joker over here at Better Bachelor is making are very, very valid. But I want again to address the bigger human resource, business management aspect of this. These people are not only getting into, sneaking in, slithering in just like snakes into companies and taking over your HR departments. They're openly lying to business leaders and business management people, saying that they are the future. There might be short changes. There might be some loss, in the short term. But again, they act as if they're going to make it up in the long term. That this is worth this investment. This is worth this loss. Not only morally speaking, but also financially speaking, they act as if they're going to completely dominate and change society. And this is the way this company needs to be. Now, competition and capitalism is a beautiful thing. Again, I hope that other companies step up and promote models and promote beauty, and promote people of different body shapes and ethnicities. But again, they're not going to represent beautiful or skinny women or women that might appeal to certain men or certain ethnicities in Victoria's Secret anymore. They are going to heavily promote, over-represent, women who are overweight or women or people of certain multi-genders. They're not going to represent long-haired, beautiful women who are fit or athletic, etc., etc. These are the same people who freak out when Japanese or Asian or other types of women out there are actually fit, they're actually athletic, and they're skinny, and they're even flirtatious on TV. These are the people who scream and actually have demanded before that they shut down the television or television programs because Asian women are extremely flirtatious and willing to show, and be it very attractive and even expose themselves. Not because of indecency, not because of that sense of morality, but because, women aren't supposed to act that way for the male gaze. The male gaze is such a problem. But let's continue on with this article. If you don't know about Rapinoe, or whatever her name is, I believe she's that extremely active liar on the soccer team, and who lied about not getting paid enough as a women's soccer player. This is the same woman. For some reason, these types of people who are the liars get rewarded. She lied about, women not getting paid enough in the soccer team. They made this an international and national issue, and it, once they actually looked into it, women were actually getting paid more. The women's soccer team, Olympics, I think it was, or whatever, they were actually getting paid more than men. They were getting paid more. And they never said they were sorry. It was never put on news. And there's still people who are going to believe and have been told the message, and they're going to believe the message that women in women's soccer did not get paid enough, and were mistreated. Um, and they're going to believe that for the rest of their lives, and it adds to their belief of the pay gap or the wage gap, as if that actually exists when it doesn't. And in fact, not women were put in a position of privilege. And some people might argue that men versus women's sports maybe shouldn't even exist. If you're going to have, teams compete with each other, who's the best of the best? Men would win these competitions most of the time. Some people argue maybe women's, competition shouldn't even exist because they can't win against biological men. Athletes or athleticism is about what is the best of the best. It's about men and women. But of course, they get to say men and women are the same, but we also have separate sports for them. It's just a way of having power over a situation and control. Whenever they're at a disadvantage, they get to separate themselves and then act as if they are a victim with victimhood. But let's continue on with this video from Better Bachelor
Message.
and see
And
what
you
he has
see
to say.
women, because I mean, men do not wander into a Victoria's Secret shop to buy something unless it's for their woman.
Exactly.
You can see,
Yeah.
and that doesn't happen very often. Trust me. I've had a talk with enough men to say this is not something that we actually do on our own. It's usually at the direction of women. So women are saying no to this craziness now, which I think is funny.
Exactly. And I'm happy that Joker here, Better Bachelor, says that, because a lot of people were making it out as if with Better Bachelor, with I guess men in general, with the beauty standards and the popularity of Victoria's Secret was because of men. Sure, men liked the angels. Men liked the models. Men liked that, and that definitely drew on attention. Definitely got the eyes. But the thing is, the women were and are and always have been the biggest customers. Women are the ones who are buying the product. People out there were pretending as if them shaming men or trying to change this company would reduce the number of men purchasing the goods, as if men are forcing or convincing or trying to dominate women to wear, attractive panties or something. It's ridiculous. Women were buying these products, women enjoyed these products, and women wanted to feel attractive and wanted to look like these models, and they wanted to, compete. And competition is good. Men have to compete. Uh, you know, who's makes more money, who's more attractive, who's taller, who's stronger, who's smarter, and we still have to compete. For women, and women still judge us, but they completely turn around and try to lie and gaslight in regards to competition regarding women. I guess women don't have to be healthy or fit or athletic. They don't have to be feminine. They don't have to have long hair. They don't have to have any types of beauty standards or beautiful skin or whatever it might be. I guess women don't have to really do anything for men. I don't know. Is this, are we really going to make society the winner is the person who cares less? Hey, if you're a man and you decide to, just become a slob and, overweight, not make any money, become, not work out, if you decide to not be attractive in any way, you people aren't going don't respect men if they demanded to have money thrown at them or attractive women interested in them. People don't pay attention to those men. In fact, most men don't even have the audacity to say something like that. But women, for some reason, do. These modern feminist type women are becoming lazier. They're becoming fatter. They're becoming less healthy, less athletic. They're intentionally dyeing themselves or not shaving or whatever it is. Intentionally trying to mock men and oppose men and not be attractive to men at all. And these are the same women who think that they should still get the same benefits and still have the same lifestyle that men do or could provide. And that's, again, one reason that they take over these corporations and they take over your government, is because they don't want to have this dynamic of responsibility. Again, men are responsible, or women can judge, women can have choice, women can control men in all kinds of different ways. But you as a man can't say, I'd like your hair a little bit longer, or I'd like you to be a little bit, a little bit skinnier, or there's something that you like in a woman, maybe a certain eye color or a certain attitude. You'd like her voice, you'd like her to sound a little bit cuter. There's something that you like as a man. And these women act as if that is a monstrous thing, that is problematic, that you as a man have any type of preference. And these women out here try to I've seen them. And when I actually started this, talking about this a year and a half ago or so, and women are fast, they gossip and they spread news very quickly. And you men don't talk enough with each other, and you don't spread messages like this. I certainly hope that you do, and you share this video with your friends and maybe even those who you can trust, in your family. But the thing is, the women start gossiping, and then when men would call them out, you expect a 6 foot man. You won't date anybody unless he's 6 foot tall or making over $100,000, or that he's really really good in the sack or bed. You know, Women start saying, "Oh, we just have preferences," and they start kicking back. You know, when you men start talking about that, want to have basic little preferences. Men aren't out here excluding the majority of women. If they're, let's say we'll play the little feminist game over here and say that men want to dominate women. So let's say if a woman is over 5'5", that you would exclude any woman who's too tall. Men don't do that, but women do. The majority of women exclude and refuse to date any man unless he's 6 foot or taller. And there's women out there who are average or even below average in height, and they can even be overweight, they can be unattractive, they can have poor social status, they can have bad attitudes, and they still think that they should get a man. Again, you're 10% of the population, or maybe even less. You're quite, that makes you quite valuable as a man if you're just 6 foot tall. That's quite rare. Um, and I think it's ridiculous that women even care about height so much. But again, in the past, it's a symbol. You're more likely to be a leader. You're more likely to have social position, power. You're more likely to make more money because we hierarchically like, people who are taller. You're more likely to be stronger, more physically fit, etc., etc., etc. in the world of this competition. No, men don't get to sit down here, say that women have to be feminine enough in the comparison of wealth to men. Don't do what men want. You can't have it like a height expectation or a certain a booba size expectation. It's like you as a man can't have any real expectations or preferences whatsoever. And again, men are far far less picky than women. Men are tremendously more accepting. Men are trying to convince themselves and even throw money at women who are really below average. Men are willing to pay money and hard-earned money to women who really are even less attractive than them, even less, average men who are trying to date women who are even below average. And women, for some reason, continue on with this charade. They continue on with this game, and people still want to feel sorry for the women's. They still want to feel or feel like a good person, that they have to fight for somebody who has been put down, or fight for somebody's equality, or fight for quote unquote fairness. competition isn't always fair. There's winners and there are losers. And somebody might try to say to me when I say that, it's like, oh, karma's going to come to get you when you say something like that, or there's something wrong about you. I've been on the receiving end. I've been treated and mistreated and devalued, and ignored by a person. In fact, by these feminists. I've been the victim of feminism when being excluded from getting jobs and not getting hired. And that's going to be a part of this video here in a second. We're about to talk about that here in a second. That men are openly being excluded, and I'm saying all men. I'm not saying just white men. I'm saying all men are being excluded and being pushed out because you're a problem, and women openly hate you. But let's continue. Let's continue on with what Joker, a better bachelor, has to say.
But it's actually having a real impact on men now. Society has decided, you know what? It's about messaging. It's about this kind of leftist agenda, and it's no longer even about women, which is what I find so fascinating.
Exactly. They continue to call themselves feminist, but they don't even care about women. If you're not paying attention, I hope you people know that they took over McDonald's. They're targeting your kids through McDonald's and video games like Animal Crossing and Minecraft, and these people, they have no problem trying to take over your kids. If Christians or if anybody else out there was as this aggressive and this well funded and this well organized, people would flip out. People would flip out. In fact, these people get to actively commit violence. Like after the Roe versus Wade decision, there were feminists and people who, and these types of people who were literally like through Molotov cocktails in women's recovery centers and women's safety centers who promoted who were pro-life. They attacked pro-life centers. These are the same people who openly freak out and openly pretend as if there's a problem in regards to the threats that happens against abortion centers in America. Again, the and there is even an argument with that because those are taxpayer funded organizations. You as a citizen have power and influence over what takes your own money. No taxation without representation, my dear ladies. And the thing is, the real Americans and real people aren't being represented. And these people are the people who are acting out. These people are the minorities, and they are the people who are actually acting out in violence. But let's continue. Let's continue on and see what we can talk about.
They're willing to throw women under the bus now, as long as it's part of the LGHD TV community and it supports their agenda. And this was posted on Twitter today, and this is from Reddit on 2X Chromosomes. And this is the kind of stuff when you guys don't get matches on dating apps, and when you don't get the job that you wanted, there's a reason why, and it doesn't mean that you're not qualified. It doesn't mean that you're not a worthy human being. It's because there is now a branding and a message behind it. And companies may not come out right out and say it, but their employees are. HR resources, and a lot of them are filled with very blue-haired, overweight women. And because, again, it gives them power and it gives them control over people, which is what they ultimately want. This is from 2X Chrome.
And we bring this up because I showed y'all a video just the other day, and a trans woman even admitted that there's a huge amount of jobs. I don't know the percentage, but she said there was an awful lot of jobs now that said women only, hiring women only, and also underneath their breath that they're saying trans and other genders only, where it's not even about it's more than just excluding white men. It's excluding men in general. Men are a problem in general. This person continues to talk about the Roe versus Wade decision, and this is somebody who works in the HR HR departments. And this is why I, about 2 years ago, started trying to get the message out there and tell companies that feminists and these types of people are destroying your companies. Again, when I joke about the little meme that, somebody starts talking about the Roe versus Wade, it's like, Susan or Timothy, why are you talking about the Roe versus Wade decision? We work at Taco Bell, or we sell burgers or whatever it is. It's like, and then the person's like, why are you talking about burgers? It's like, we work here. These people openly don't care about your company. They don't care about your mission. They don't care about your products, your success, your bottom line. They don't care about success. With your company, they openly think it's more important to control and define and manipulate and change society. And if they have to hurt your company by excluding men, and we're not even just talking about just white men, we're now they're openly throwing out all men of all kinds of colors and ethnicities and backgrounds. Now they're throwing out all men. And this woman was so angry after Roe versus Wade that she is openly throwing out all applications. And this is why I couldn't get a job, and I openly started talking about uh, that you can't get a job if you're freedom minded. And again, I wasn't even. I'm not even a conservative, and I'd never even talked as a conservative. But I used to debate some people on Facebook about all kinds of different issues, and I actually was very nice. I was very friendly, and always tried to talk about facts, and always was open minded, and really, I left most of the time. I left things very open ended. There's a possibility that I'm very wrong, or there's a possibility that we don't have all the information. I was very fair. Um, about things, and I was most of the time I was just asking questions. Most of the time I didn't come to any conclusions. I didn't even make any assertions or any assumptions. I did not voice or suggest a lot of public change. Now, in regards to the Constitution, I did speak out and say that we need to uphold our actual laws and our actual structure, our legal structure of government, because it has been torn apart every way to Tuesday. It has been torn apart, our nation and our laws, and they constantly are breaking legal procedures and disrupting and throwing off the balance of power that was so carefully constructed in America and in other nations' governments to create fairness, where our government could work together in a legal process that would work effectively and fairly, where nobody could take advantage of the system. Anyways, these women are open, who control HR departments, human resources, are openly. They're not only are they firing people, but they're and hunting for conservatives or traditional people, or hunting for the people who voted or donated to Trump. Ocasio-Cortez openly said that we have lists, and we'll make lists, and that we will openly come after you. She's a socialist. She openly talks about that. She is one. And these people are not joking. And again, these are the same people who want to get rid of your guns and get rid of your freedoms of speech, etc., etc. These people mean business. Um, and again, you can be as fair, as gentle, and as kind. I did all kinds of community service. I did all kinds. I was a Eagle Scout. I cared about people. I loved people. I supported people. I was willing to defend other people, die for other people. And I had an internship. I'd worked at the Ford Motor Company. I should have been one of the best applicants that anybody had ever seen for a entry level job. But yet I rarely have ever. I only got contacted back. Nobody ever approached me, and I only got contacted back like really like three different times. And one time I got fairly far, but I'll make a whole video about that. It was unbelievable. It was just out of a leftist playbook. It was a joke. The other two times, I was kind of ignored fairly quickly. But again, if you as a man, if you're a hardworking man, you're a professional man, you have skills, you have talents, you have abilities, you have a college education as a man, you're curious, why can't you get a job? Why is it so hard to get a job? Why do you have to put in so much effort? Why are why is it that women have higher position jobs than you, even if you are more qualified? This is becoming a problem or a norm, and it's only going to get worse as 60 to 70% of people are women graduating from college, and they think it's their moral responsibility and their duty. Maybe not all of them, but if 10 or even 20% of women who are given affirmative action and preferential treatment, if they get in control of HR departments or positions of power and affluence within a company like a big corporation, they can exclude men or make it so that men it's harder for them to move up the ladder, harder for men to get promotions, harder for men to succeed. uh, and this is happening all across the nation. And why I talk about corporations, and I think a lot of people need to talk about corporations, is because we have a society have changed. We used to believe in mom and pop shops. People aren't really going to even local malls anymore, but before even local malls were a huge thing, people would go to farmers markets, people would be buying from local shops on your city street, people would be buying local products and from people and businesses, faces that they knew, people that they knew, and build up their regional places. Now, there is some benefits of corporatism, efficiency, cheaper products, better products, but we trust these corporations far too much. You depend on them. You think that they it increases your status or makes you look good because you wear a pair of Nike shoes or something. And so you keep buying into these products, and they become so established that they also twist and are trying to define what culture is and what culture isn't. They change society, but also these people and these women take advantage of that. You trust a certain company to give you a certain product. You trust them to be reliable. You trust them to be consistent and maybe have the cheapest or the best quality product. But now it's been taken over. We need to have a whole cultural shift, and people need to become more reactionary. If they're willing to get rid of like Land of Lakes and take over and hurt your products and try to target people and change society, you as a customer, you as somebody who might purchase something, need to say no to anybody who is doing anything political outside of just producing or just serving you, or giving you a service or a product that you actually like and that you actually want. These corporations and these businesses are becoming extremely political, and they're being taken over by these types of people. They don't care about the products, they don't really care about you, and they want to change and define society. And in fact, they want bigger and bigger business. And that is also, to me, the more dangerous thing, and even the more scary thing, that the corporations have so much power and they are in bed with government. And this is the kind of thing that leads us into the future, where they're openly are telling corporations and businesses. They already do it with farmers, but in the future, like what they can produce, controlling what the prices and the availability of things will be, and the government will try to decide, what, because they're of course so much smarter and so much better than you, and they know what's best for you, and they get to determine how you should live. And of course, you as an American, or you as a person in a Western country, you're too privileged. You're accustomed to a life that's too good for you. So they're going to make you poor and remove the availability of certain products and certain things, or reduce them, or make them more expensive. Again, these people are not sad that your gas is more expensive. These people are not sad that we are on a food shortage. In fact, they caused the food shortage. They caused your gas to be $5 or more, and they caused the problems where you can't get baby formula. These people are the ones who caused inflation. All these things don't happen magically. All these things aren't, don't just, they don't just pop out of the ground. They don't just show up, magically appear. These things are created, and there's ways to reduce and produce these problems, and they've produced them. And there's a reason why they produced them. They want to take from you. They want to reduce your livelihood and make you ultimately less happy. And to me, that's really the most shocking thing about all of this is they don't seem to, you know, they're supposedly the people of equality. They're supposedly the people of love, and they supposedly cared about the economy, getting women into the workforce, getting women to work, would improve the economy. They supposedly care about the economy. That you can tell that they obviously don't give a damn about the economy. They don't really care about economy. They're willing to throw Latin people under the bus with the Latinx thing. Latinos do not want it. They have openly mocked and opposed Asians who want excellence, want their kids to succeed, want their kids to be smart, educated, and even wealthy. There's a lot of, again, very wealthy Asians, and these people might not win. Even the minorities, these types of people might not even win over the minorities. But if they can get some of the minorities up, and if they can keep bringing in poor people who will vote for their bigger programs, bigger taxes, and hand out money to more and more invaders and refugees and more immigrants, you are already being displaced. More of these people are brought in through legal immigration than are actually born into America in most of your countries. And then there's, invaders and other things that are going on. So every single day and every single year, you are being replaced. You are being replaced. And this is why they are so confident in changing the business against the will of desires of men and even women who just want to be attractive or just want to be feminine, with Victoria's Secrets. This is why they're so confident, is because they're going to have the power of the government. They're going to be on top. They're going to be the one calling the shots, and they're going to be able to bring in really cheap labor, and use these people. They supposedly care about the minorities. They don't care about the minorities. They'll use them as cheap labor for their to get their coffee every morning and to keep the gears running for the machine, as they get to dominate society and tax and punish and regulate and control everybody's lives. And this is the danger. This is the danger with the corporations and these governments. And that's why I keep talking about that, is because people aren't talking enough about this. This is beyond dangerous. This is changing societies. This is changing demographics. This is changing personal wealth. If you're a hardworking man, if you're an articulate man, if you're a smart man, if you are somebody who actually has great capability and great potential, they don't want you to be a leader. They don't care that if you could make their company wildly successful. They don't care that you could become the next CEO. They don't care that you could become somebody who develops the new product or the new thing for their company. If you're a man, especially if you're a white man, they don't want you. They don't care about the company's success. They don't care, and it's the same thing in regards to the government. They don't care about the economy. They don't care about the nation's success as long as they get to shun you and to control you. But let's continue. Let's continue on with this video here and see what else there is to say.
Chromosomes. I work in HR in a red state, meaning conservative. Ever since Roe v. Wade was overturned, I've been throwing out all job applications from white men.
And that's why I say this. A lot of people think it's ridiculous that I mentioned white men. Of course, I don't like to focus on race in any discussion. I think it's ridiculous, but I'm not the one who's trying to exclude or promote a certain race or a certain gender. These are the people who are exclusionary. These are the people who are attacking and manipulating and hurting other people. It's not it's not the conservatives or the people in the middle. It's not the libertarians. It's not the anybody who believes in freedom-minded people or constitutionalists. The people who are excluding other people, manipulating and hurting other people, are the feminists and these leftists and these extreme people who just openly, are hurting people. If this HR department, this person who is in human resources, who has the power and is openly rejecting men in general, especially white men, so you cannot get a job, white men, you can't get a job, and this is happening in a conservative state. Imagine what is happening in a blue state, or quote unquote Democrat state, or a sanctuary city state. They are well organized with LinkedIn. They're organized with the federal government, and they work to exclude you as a man, especially as a white man. It's systematic. It's systematic, and they again they love to use these terminologies, and they feel threatened, by you as a law-abiding good person who would die and protect other people if if you believe in concealed carry. You're there to be a sheepdog, or to help people and to protect people, and this is the kind of reason why they're so afraid, is because they are the ones who would actually do these kinds of things. They are the oppressors. They are the ones who would actually we're marching towards genocide. This is, I mean, that is something that people don't want to talk about, and that's a scary talk. But that is where the feminist and the gender people are leading this country. When push comes to shove, when you can't, you don't have freedom of speech, where you will be punished, put in jail, or silenced because you can't speak, or silenced or punished because you can't defend yourself. They take away the Second Amendment. They, will get rid of you, especially if you're openly oppose them, or openly, are annoying, or openly try to disagree with them. If you make a company, or a product, or do something that they do not like, you will be silenced. And that's ultimately what this is about. I thought that feminism was about, they talked about the season of love. I thought this was like, I mean, even about hippies. I mean, I thought that this was about kumbaya. We all come together. We all accept each other. Diversity, cultures. We're all gonna go to a party. All gonna go to the luau's. We're all gonna go to the fiestas. We're all gonna go have a big, big party. And I thought feminism, that we're just gonna, have a good old time. I thought that's what this was all about. Well, obviously it's not. Obviously it's not. If feminists say that if you don't give us the right or the choice to murder life, we chose to get in bed with somebody. We chose to get pregnant. Again, there's like 16, 17, 18, or something like that forms of contraceptives. We could have taken the day after pill. We could have taken choices and made taken actions before and after to prevent or get rid of a pregnancy. But we not only demand that this is available to us. I hope that that most of these abortions were paid also by tax dollars. Really, that to me, that's even the bigger issue. That it's are paying and subsidizing for the life choices and of others. That's really the bigger issue to me. Even above this is, and that's ultimately is what has led to this problem. We as a people, why are taxpayers, why are taxes paying for the alternative lifestyles and the consequences and risky procedures and scientific experiments and these crazy things that they do. And I don't know how many of you parents also know, but they can give your daughter and they can give your sons contraceptives without parents' permission. And especially if you live in a Democrat state, if you live in a state, with these feminists, that's been happening for a decade or two. They can go to a doctor. Their doctor can, these days can convince them or tell them that they should be trans, or they should be bi, or they should be queer, or whatever. They can, try to, tell them, about vaccines or whatever that you might not, believe in, or influence your children. And they can also give your kids prescriptions behind your back, and you legally are, they don't have to tell you. They don't have to tell you. And this happens all the time, and it's heartbreaking. And it's heartbreaking that this is legally, they can do these kinds of things. Obviously, they don't care about families. They don't care about the sanctities of a family, or the power and the responsibility of not only a mother but a father, where a father can say no to their son or daughter having getting contraceptives when they're 16 or 17 or living in their house, or 18 or whatever. um, this is the kind of world we live in. If you as a man, stepped in and said that your daughter couldn't get the pill, or couldn't get contraceptives when she was like 14 years old, they'd put that on international news. They'd put that on international news. If you as a man started to if you decide to step up and do something like that, especially if your daughter decided to make a fuss and decided that she was a feminist. You don't think that this is how beaten men are down, how beaten down men are. Men don't have any influence. They don't get to make any choices regarding their family. And in fact, most of the times men are kicked out of their families, or they're divorced, or that they know that they can't, can't even tell their own daughters or their children really, have any real influence upon them. And that's where we are in society. But let's continue. Let's continue on with what he has to say.
She says, and again, I don't sit on the court. As a matter of fact, Judge Clarence Thomas, a black man, is the one.
Yeah, I don't want to get in all to that. They act as if taking away Roe versus Wade was, men are the problem. Again, they lie, and they stir up their fanaticism and act as if men are the problem. Again, the people who voted for Roe versus Wade, who supported it originally, were all white men. I suppose, I guess it's still the men are still the problem, right? In fact, the Supreme Court, who just took away Roe versus Wade, was a much more diverse, diversity Supreme Court than it was in the original decision. So you don't have an argument. That's another false argument, and that's another false narrative. And they'll continue to make this lie, and people are going to believe that men are the ones who got rid of Roe versus Wade in this decision, that men are essentially the problem. They don't care about diversity. They're not really caring about races or whatever. If they'll openly attack you. They don't care. They don't care.
One that led the charge on this ruling, and of course, all it does is it gives people the right to vote about it.
I don't want to get into that debate. Them getting rid of this brought the decision down to the state level, and honestly, this shouldn't even be a debate to begin with. The Constitution is very clear: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. This should never have become even a Supreme Court decision to begin with. It's very clear that they have no case in regards to trying to establish abortion. There's no case for it. There's absolutely no case, to defend themselves. It shouldn't even be brought to a state level. But again, it's brought to a state level where individual states can decide on what they're to represent their people and their constituents, and give people within certain states their choice in regards to this. And so there's still going to be pro-abortion states, but of course that's not good enough. They have to have complete control. They have to set the social norms. They have to have, dominate people. Again, they are the people who supposedly care about choice and freedom and representation. Obviously, they don't care about the representation of other people. And again, you can try to marginalize and say that, Christians or rednecks or whatever are the problem. No, there's all kinds of different people of different races, different cultures, different religions, different backgrounds, and they are against abortion. Again, these types of people try to ostracize and marginalize all kinds of people, and it's really disgusting. These feminists and these leftists, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. There's lots of religions, lots of races, lots of cultures, lots of people who openly disagree with your beliefs. And this is why, if you actually find their articles, they openly talk about that they are coming after your religion and your culture. They're coming after you, and they want to destroy that. They want to destroy you and your lifestyle and your culture and what you think is beautiful and what you think is important. Now, his whole video here is worth watching from Better Bachelor, but his video is an hour long. You know that I can talk for almost 3 hours or more in one of our podcasts and one of our videos here. But let's continue. Here he talks about that there was somebody found an article where he sent out 100. Somebody did a social experiment. You need to be testing the waters, men, and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. It's called an A/B test. Do that to help try to develop yourself to improve your life and also make a successful business. But they here talk about that they sent out 100 applications to as a man when you're supposed to fill out an application as a gender. Of course, that is, they try to pretend as if that's a good thing. Applications and job applications were sexist from the beginning. You shouldn't even have to put your gender down in an application. They should be looking at how qualified you are and if you are a good person and a good fit for the company. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Women were getting preferential treatment in the past, but now it's being used to exclude and even target men. So they sent out 100 applications as a man, and he got 7 responses as a man. Only 7 out of 100. So you have a 7% chance. And again, I don't know how qualified he was. I don't know how good of a resume he had, how much job experience he had. I don't know, but he probably was fairly often, and he's fairly intelligent to do something like this. So at least he has a decent resume and a decent work history, and probably is a fairly good applicant. So he sent out 100 and got only 7 responses as a man. That's 7%. That means that for every application, every 10 applications you send out, you might be lucky to get 1 response. And imagine how much time this takes to do this. He sent out another 100 applications as a woman, and he chose to click that he was a woman, or he identified, or whatever you want to call it, as a woman in the application. And he got 45 responses. That makes it, I think, 650 times, almost like 700 times more likely to get a response, to get the job, to get that position if you are a woman or if you identify as a woman. And again, this is why young little boys are becoming trans. There's more young boys who are becoming trans than young women, because young men are told that they're monsters. They're told that there's something biologically wrong with them. They're told that they have the original sin. They're told that there's something wrong about them that they have to try to fix, that they might never recover, that they have lots of problems, and that it's stressful as a young boy. You're not allowed to run. You're not allowed to explore. You're not allowed to go out there and maybe break some things and explore in the woods and fight and hunt and do things out there. You're not allowed to experience life as a boy. In fact, you're told that you are dangerous and that you're likely, or really likely, to do bad things to women or bad things to people, that you're naturally filled with hate, that you're naturally problematic, that you're told that you are the problem as a man. And again, so this is not only a cultural thing, but it's also, I mean, a personal, emotional thing that they put onto people. But now it's a financial thing. Now it's affecting people's careers and livelihoods, and your potential to succeed and have a job and have a life and have a salary, to have an income. This is complete. This is being outcasted. This is what is being an outcast. This is what is called ostracized. This is what it's called. Now, if you were to exclude somebody who is trans or somebody who is gay, that would be wrong. But if you were to do anything like that for any reason, or a person who is a certain race, people would freak out, and there would be lawsuits, and you would be outcasted not only socially, but you would be sued. Men might, I'm sure a few men might try to sue over something like these kinds of things, but you will not win, because they control the judges, they control the courts, and they control what is quote unquote socially normal and quote unquote socially acceptable. So there do need to be lawsuits. I do believe that men need to at least try. This is illegal. This is unfair. This is unjust. Men need to sue the heck out of these companies and these kinds of people. These HR departments need to be exposed, and people need to be fired. I mean, why is it that you're almost 700% more likely to get hired as a woman than a man? Especially when men often, many of the times are more qualified, or often work harder than women. And again, women often get paid, higher leave. They get special privileges. They cost companies more money, that's really a fact. They cost companies more money than men do, and men are often more productive. But again, they don't want to acknowledge these kinds of things. But yet, women are the ones who are getting hired preferentially. Men are being excluded. But let's continue. These people obviously don't care about equality.
The white mind power has invaded how you think, and now we're against you. And this is the new feminism is the new woke.
Exactly. They're continuing this narrative that you could be a white-minded person, and this is the same crazy racist ideology when Joe Biden said that if you vote for me, you ain't black. They get to change what is white. It's no longer about skin. It's about attitude or culture or lifestyle. So if you're freedom-minded, constitution-minded, justice-minded, if you think that people should be held accountable and be held responsible for their choices, if they do things that are morally wrong, or when they overstep, people's liberties, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, that there should be consequences when you violate, or offend those liberties, you know, that you are a problem, that you have been influenced by the whiteness. Oh, the whiteness. The plague on society is the whiteness, the white mind. But let's continue on with what he has to say here.
And he finishes off here. So then I thought, what about someone looking for working job or working class jobs? So I decided to focus on restaurants, servers, hosting, etc. Let me pause you right there, champ. That's not a working class job. I mean, it is, but it's not. Working class job, a true blue collar job is wrenching, mechanics, electrical.
Exactly. Now he moved from corporate jobs where you're 700% more likely to get a job as a woman. Then he decided to move to the working sector, the hospitality, the waitresses, the servers, the cooks. He decided to go to those types of jobs. Your barista, the person at Starbucks, he decided to do a separate experiment and send out 100 applications to those types of jobs as a man and another 100 applications as a woman. This time there were 10 responses as a man, so you're a little bit more likely, barely more likely. You still have only a 10% chance of getting a response as a man, and actually there you had an 87% response as to get a response of woman, and to being a waitress, to being a bar girl or a bartender, to being a barista, and those types of jobs. It's even worse. You're like, what is that? Is that over like 800% more likely, 870% more likely to get a job as a woman in that kind of job. And that's where a lot of people are. That's where a lot of people are, making 30, 35 odd $1,000, working for minimum wage. You have even less of a chance of getting a job as a man. We're looking for an average job, even if it's physically demanding. And again, this is why I encourage you, men, if you're desperate, you might have to go to trades. You might have to become a plumber, an electrician, a mechanic. They're going to eventually regulate and say, and as you determine how much you should get paid, and you have a skill, and you should get paid more. You should get paid a lot. If you're a master mechanic or a master electrician, a master plumber, you should be getting paid an awful lot of money. You should be getting paid just as much as these corporate people in corporate offices who most of the time aren't really doing much of anything for society. These people who are in human resource departments, who are excluding men, who are bigots, they're getting paid like a lot of money, often 70,000, 75, many times $100,000 or so. And just for hiring and firing people, and it doesn't take a lot of effort. You as a person who are, as a master electrician, plumber, whatever, mechanic, you're actually doing something that actually is important. These people can't live without the labor you provide, or it would be difficult for them, very difficult for them to do this repair or fix this problem themselves. So you are doing something that it would be that they might not even be able to do for themselves. Something that is essential. Something that, even if they tried, a lot of people. How many people out there know how to fix a car? Some people can figure it out, but a lot of modern cars, they're not even made to be repairable. Older cars, depending on what they are, they're made to be fixed. It's easier to fix them. But how many of people out there actually know how to do plumbing? Average person has no idea how to do plumbing and electrical work. Average person has no idea on how to do anything electrical, and you have to have the tools. There's, you build up all. You have to have all these special tools to be a real electrician. You have to invest, in at least a couple hundred, if not $1,000, into tools to be an effective electrician. And if you want some of those nice high tech tools, you might throw out, a couple $1,000 to get some nice tools and a really nice tools as an electrician. So there's investment and labor and skill and ability that you will might have to have as you go into trade, but it's really the last option and really the best option that you have. Should you be fighting against these crazy people? Yes. Should you be talking about these problems? Yes. Should a lot of you men even be suing these companies and suing these people because of this bigotry and this hate and this sexism? Yes, but a lot of you men are going to have to, really the only option and the biggest option you have is to make your own companies. You know, create your own companies, hire actually decent, good people, protect yourself, be very careful about who you do business with, who you hire, and be very careful and vet these people. And also, you might have to move, get into trade jobs. But let's continue on with this. He has a whole hour-long video, and he goes over some of the recent history. I don't want to focus too much on this because, again, this can touch politics as well. But this is a person who's a college professor at Berkeley. This is a college professor at Berkeley. And I'll show this video here real quick. It's extremely annoying to me. And this person is extremely, I mean, if you want to talk about problematic, this is the kind of person who is problematic. But let me show you this video here real quick.
She's not looking at him directly. She's not answering, because if you ask me a question and I'm talking to you, we're going to look.
Let's skip this ad.
At each other like this, and I say blah 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 blah, and I'm looking you in the eye. Her eyes roll up and to the right, and she's literally regurgitating something that she has memorized. This is the quote proper response that is given to these type of questions, and she literally just flips and goes right into script mode.
In the narrative, these people can't debate you. These people cannot discuss with you. These people are programmed. This is a college professor. She tells your kids what is normal, what is good, what is the moral thing to think, what is the good thing, what is the thing that you should say, that you should believe, that you must believe, and that you must say. And this is a college professor who somebody who asks what the feminist movement is trying to do, trying to ask what feminism, the objectives, the purposes, what do you want? When do we become equal? He never even asserts or says that there are two genders. He just asks some basic fair questions. But yet he is assaulted, verbally. He is mocked, he is challenged, and he is told that he's a bad person and that he has committed violence for just asking fair questions. That if he's not a part of the movement, he's not a part of them, then he is the enemy. If you're not with us, you're against us. These people are dangerous. These feminists and these types of people, this is a college professor who affects law, who has connections, who has power, has more power than you probably do, has more connections than you can probably will ever have. And this person openly doesn't care to debate you, doesn't care to discuss with you. In fact, openly will just regurgitate information and that they think is relevant. And they don't have to debate you. That's the thing. You can't hold them accountable. She, in her mind, is probably thinking, oh, racist, sexist, old white man. I can't wait till you're dead. That's literally what these people think. I can't wait till you're dead. Oprah Winfrey said it. She said it openly on television. You don't think this is how they think? Yeah, it's how they think.
Remember, this is a professor at a university, which is why I say don't waste your money at many of these
Don't
universities.
go to college.
Has value?
I believe that a person with a capacity for pregnancy has value. They have intelligence. They have agency. They have
I'm talking about the baby.
And I'm talking about the person with the capacity for
And
pregnancy.
you're not answering.
And she thinks she's smart. This woman, she's a nose-ringed, angry feminist. And she thinks she's smart. She doesn't have to answer your question. This is a political forum. This is a political discussion where you have sworn oaths, where you are accountable to the government. Your life is literally on the line. If we actually held these politicians and these people of power accountable, their life is on the line. They have sworn an oath where, you know, their life is at risk. That is what it, you know, is a risk if they violate the Constitution and violate this nation. That's how we're supposed to talk. That's how we're supposed to speak. She doesn't have to answer. She just like Dr. Fauci can laugh in your face. She doesn't have to answer your questions. And, you know, this question was, the question he asked is, at what point can we, you know, stop? Or do you think of how, at what point is it not morally good or unacceptable to commit an abortion? What she's saying is that it should, through indirectly, is that a parent or a birthing, quote unquote, birthing person can decide at any time. There's that essentially saying that there are no limitations on them whenever they can have an abortion. That there should be no restrictions and no limitations. So if you're 8 months pregnant, 9 months pregnant, and there are people who openly say that you should be able to kill a child, even that's been born, if you don't want your child after like a year or something. And people pretend as if this kind of stuff doesn't exist. It does exist. You know, there are people who openly think it's normal to have an abortion at 8, 9 months when that child is fully and completely developed and could be born and could be completely healthy. This person, that's what they're trying to say, but they refuse to answer the question. Because they don't want to be held accountable, and they don't want they don't really want that to get out. You know, they don't really want to expose themselves that way, and for you to be able to debate them and to discuss them and possibly even disagree with them. These people are not honest. They're not forthright. They're not decent people. These feminists and these types of people, these leftists, these extremists. But let's continue. Let's continue.
The question I'm asking.
I'm answering a more interesting question to me.
I am answering a more interesting question. The question you should be asking, the thing that you should be thinking. I am telling you what to think. I am telling you what you should be talking about. And this is how this person treats a person who is a sitting, you know, I forget if this is a senator or who is asking the question. This is a Berkeley professor. This is how they treat you, somebody who has higher status and higher authority, and somebody who is being interviewed, you know, and it was being questioned. This is how you get treated. She's playing a power dynamic game now. She's playing a little power dynamic game. She's a little feminist, and she's going to tell you what you should be asking and what you should be thinking. If this is how she treats somebody of higher position and that she is accountable to and responsible to, how do you think thinks of you, and how do you think she talks about you as an average man or somebody who is of lesser status or lesser position? You know, this is the kind of stuff that's going on in our country. This is a feminist. This is a leftist, woke, multigender person in action. This is somebody who teaches your kids at college, who affects law. She's not only a college professor, she's a college professor of law. This person influences the minds of the future in regards to our legal system. She doesn't care about processes, responsibility, accountability, being forthright, being honest. No, she doesn't give a damn about anything like that. She doesn't care about the structure. These are the people who are tearing apart, you know, our government and how it is structured. Checks and balances. Let's continue.
You're not answering my question. I'm answering a more interesting question to me. I don't feel like answering your question. I'm going to tell you the script. I'm going to tell you our message. And I will repeat it, and I will not answer what you ask me. I'm going to repeat the message. As Critical Drinker likes to say, I need an...
Yep. And if you don't know who the Critical Drinker is, I encourage you to watch his channel as well. He is somebody who reviews movies and popular entertainment. He's a YouTuber, and he's very successful, and he's doing a great job. And he's really lambast and kind of tears apart a lot of these terrible movies. A lot of these movies and entertainment that's out there also is pretty darn terrible. But let's continue on. I don't want to focus on this too much, but this is how you get treated as a man. You try to have a discussion, you try to have a debate, you try to figure out what people believe, you try to figure out what's the differences between a man and a woman, what point does a trans person transition, you try to figure out at what point abortions should be allowed. Is it when we can detect a heart? Is it when a child is conceived? Is it when we can detect a heartbeat, which is often the law in places like Texas? If you can detect a heartbeat, then that child is alive and you cannot have an abortion. Is it when the child is fully developed? Is it what are the rules here? What are the limitations? Of course, there are all kinds of rules and limitations, and they're openly excluding and firing and pushing men out of the workplace. You're being fired, you're being excluded, you're being restricted, but they won't even be honest with you about anything. These people don't have to be honest. How are you? Good to see you, Alicia Pinwell. Happy to see you today. I'm doing pretty well. I'm having a big presentation. I feel like I'm on fire. I feel like I'm in the groove. I feel like I'm, really getting my voice together, and I feel like I'm, becoming a better, podcaster, presenter, streamer. I'm treating this like a radio show. I hope that it's enjoyable. I hope that you like it. And hope that people get involved, because this is the kind of stuff people need to be talking about. And if you just popped in after this recording, or maybe you want to go a little bit back after this live, and these women and these HR departments, they're openly getting rid of men. They're not hiring men. They're openly excluding you, not only in corporate jobs, but also in the service sector. You're like 700% more likely to get hired as a woman in corporate jobs. And if you're going for, hospitality jobs like a barista, somebody who's cooking your food, somebody who's working at, your McDonald's or whatever, you're like 870% more likely to be hired as a woman. So you as a man are being completely pushed out, out of society. There's no debate. It's a fact, and it's sad. And this is why I made this video. It's a joke on it's a small world after all, but it's a normal world after all. Again, these people act as if everything's normal, or we're working towards the new normal, where things will never go back to once they once were. We have to work towards the new normal. Have you heard these people make these debates? They're like, we'll never go back. They were talking about that in regards to COVID, but they also have that type of attitude in regards to tradition and marriages and family and culture. Will never become, I guess, honest, and men will never be leaders, and they'll never, we're going to stop men from becoming successful and being wealthy and having a strong economy. Where the new norm is where you can't afford to put gas in your car. The new norm is where you can't. Food is much more expensive, and you're gonna have to start eating cheaper forms of food. You're gonna have to start buying the cheap stuff. You might even have to eat bugs, and they've talked about that, and they're not really joking about it. This is how they treat you, and this is how they think you, and they've destroyed our economies, and they're pushing men out of business, and they're pushing men out of the economy. It's absolutely terrible. Okay, have a good day. Good to see you, Alicia. Happy to be a friend to you. Feel free to get in the comment sections, everybody. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me your feelings. Feel free to, let me know what you're thinking, what I need to review next, what I need to talk about. And, of course, give me a like and all those good things if you'd like to. So let's continue on with this video here today.
To be seen as a good person, which means validation. Because I wanted the validation of people that when they thought about me, or when they encountered me, they had a good feeling that I left them with a good feeling, and then they'd say, "Boy, you know that Joker, he's a nice guy. He's a good guy. I like him."
And this is a very heartfelt moment from Joker. Again, I love this channel here at Better Bachelor. I was the exact same person. Not only did I want to be accepted, not only did I want to be a part of the group, I wanted to feel like I was making the world a better place. I sacrificed, I did community service, I helped people, I cared about people, I listened to people, I was a shoulder for people to cry on. I have been the type of person throughout my life that I wanted to make the world a better place. And these people can literally sit here and say that if you're a man, especially if you believe in freedom or accountability, or if you're not, if you're against abortion, if you're, you want to hold people accountable, you want to have a better economy, you want people to have affordable gas, you want us to actually have pipelines, and actually the United States or your country to actually have fuel, actually have a running economy. If you believe in checks and balances, where a president can't do whatever he wants and overstep your form of government or the Constitution or whatever, he can't be a tyrant or a dictator. That there's something wrong with you, no matter how much you've done and how much you've cared. I was beaten down and mocked and shamed at college, and I was helping women move. Moving their boxes, moving their furniture, moving their everything that they had, and I would do that for free. They didn't give me a thank you. I wasn't dating these women. I didn't get a kiss. I didn't get anything. I didn't ask for anything. I did that out of the goodness of my own heart. And at the same time, at college, I was being mocked as a man. I was told that I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't good enough. I was told that I was potentially dangerous. Women, more power to women who can defend themselves, but there were women who were openly talking about that they knew karate and that they would hurt me if I did anything wrong. And I had never threatened, I had never raised my voice, I never said anything wrong. I was gentle and I was kind, and I guess I was tall and I was imposing to some people, and they felt that they had to openly threaten me, no matter how good I was, no matter how kind of a person I was. And this is really hurtful, especially if you're raised. I was raised in the 90s when you were told that you need to, help people, and that people will want to help you back and people will care about you back. We'll build a little society, a little culture, and everybody will, if you're a good person, people talk about karma, that karma will come to get you, or karma will benefit you in the end. Well, where's the good karma for me? Where's the good karma for me? I did community service. I've been kind to people. I've tried to make people happy. I used to do everything possible to make people's lives easy and comfortable, and be kind and be gentle. Where is the society that reciprocates love? These types of people don't reciprocate love. And ultimately what this gets at is, if you are a man who is loving and caring and actually wants to make the world a better place, they don't care. They still see you as a problem. And also women see that as weakness. Men are often taught to be capitulate too much, to do too much service, to look to women to know what to do and to what to say. And a lot of you men maybe don't even have enough identity or purpose in your life, that you're working towards your own goals and your own ambitions and the things that you personally want. And that makes you less desirable to women. So again, it's a small world where people know what you've done. A lot of people know what kind of character you have, but I guess it doesn't really matter that much. I guess no matter how much good you do. Again, men are demonized as being the oppressors throughout history, but men are the ones who have cared and sacrificed and died for women. Men are the ones who have built families, provided for them, gave them food, water, shelter, electricity, fire. Men have been the ones who have sacrificed and done everything for society. There's no gratitude. There's no thankfulness. Men are the ones who have developed most of the sciences, most of the technology. They developed your cars, your cell phone, your houses, your plumbing, your electricity. Most of every single darn thing in the world has been done. It benefits men and benefits women. And they develop products that women depend upon as well. But there's no gratitude, no matter how loving you are and how kind you are. Uh, these You're being pushed out, and it's obvious with these HR departments. This is something that's going to have consequences for the generations. Again, 60 to 70% of college graduates are women, and if you as a man, you're only you're only 30% of the workforce that's trying to go into the corporate or those higher position level jobs, and women are 700% more likely to get those jobs, and you're outnumbered over 2 to 1. You're over so you in competing with women it's over double that. Oh, you are, you know, a woman compared to your job is over 1,000 times more likely to get that job than you. You know, you don't even have a 1 out of 10 chance. It's less than 10%. You have like a 5% chance of getting that job, and then you have to capitulate. You have to look right. You have to, dress right. They're going to restrict you even more if you're a white man, and if you support freedom or justice. It doesn't matter what kind of race you or gender you are. They're going to exclude you and punish you. And why we talk about this is because having a job, having an income, having a salary is something that's extremely essential to living. Economies are built, and this is how we live. This is how we exchange goods and services and purchase things. If I guess you can create your own business. I guess you can go out there and get a trade job or work, a really poor job. But I'm making this type of video is because people out there, if you're freedom minded, or you believe in justice and freedom, and it doesn't matter how good you are, how kind you are, how gentle you are, you're going to be excluded. And you can, like I did, try for a year or two and try to get a job and beg people and send out applications and your resume and write cover letters for hours and beg people for jobs. They're not going to give you a job. They're not going to do it. It's going to be very unlikely. You're going to have to come from a wealthy or a reputable family. You're going to have to come from a college that's reputable. You're going to have to have your foot in the door. You're going to have to know somebody. You're going to have to know a woman, a feminist who gives you her stamp of approval, who validates you and says that you aren't a problem. And then she's probably going to treat you like her pet. And women will still watch you. Women will still try to get you fired if they make a mistake, or if they don't want to lift those boxes, or, at your corporate office, those big containers of water, the water jugs. Who's going to be refilling the water every day? It's not going to be the women. It's going to be you. You're going to be the patsy. You're going to be the little servant. No matter what position you do have or you should have, you're going to be filling in the blanks and doing extra work for these women at these jobs. So even if you got one of these corporate jobs, you're going to be taking on extra work and extra responsibility for these women, who think that, you should be working for them, or that this is a form of equality, or what's that word when, it's not retribution. It's, anyways, it's a way of payback, for the generations of supposed damage that's been done to women throughout history. This is what's going on. And I was a man, and I still am a man at my heart of hearts. So I want to be loved. I want to be accepted by other people. I'd even like to have a family one day, but you can't find somebody who's loving. It's very difficult. Even if you go to around people who are religious, it's very hard to find decent, freedom-minded, open-minded people who are, are accountable, responsible, honest, forthright. Women who have, reject feminism and reject these narratives. It's fairly darn hard to find these types of people, and I hope that you men and these people watching this channel, hope that you start to speak out or start to express yourself or find some kind of purpose or some kind of identity. And it's difficult because often they'll try to fire you. Often they'll try to get you kicked out of your jobs. I've had people come on here and make comments and ask me where I work. They ask me what I do for work, and people who are trying to get me fired, they're trying to dox me. And these people go so far, you can't even hide. If you are a person who's trying to be anonymous on Reddit or some website, they openly try to target you and get you fired if you do express any of these things, even if you try to hide yourself on the internet. So it's scary as a man, and I'm not encouraging you men to be afraid, but this is not easy. This is a very troubling time to be alive as a man. You're being replaced. You're being ignored. You're being your young sons and are being targeted by, especially by trans. Again, more children are who are male or boys are becoming trans than women, because, you know, you're not only are you told that there's all these problems for you and that there's something wrong with you as a little boy, you're also told of all these opportunities for you as a little boy if you do decide to transition. There's all these amazing opportunities, and this is the reason why they're doing these kinds of things, and that they're being pressured into it as well. But let's continue on with some of his video here. I actually have a lot more content to talk about as well. I'm not sure if there's anything else I want to focus on or talk about here from Better Bachelor. No, I think we're gonna leave that be. But his channel's great. Check him out on YouTube. He is a great YouTube channel. So I wanted to go over some news. This is Google News here. They talk about all the biggest news, and I don't want to talk about more of Biden's.
I decided to make it my personal mission to get revenge on this scammer.
Sorry, Biden's you know, his baffles, his mistakes. I'm not going to focus on that kind of stuff. He made another gaffe in Israel or something. But I wanted to mention that, you know, a lot of the times when you turn on the news, I hope that you know, actually look towards the positive. Try to focus on information where you can improve your own life, improve your own skills, your own talents, work on your passions and your desires. Because if you look at the net news, it's always something negative or something that pushes the message, something that pushes the narrative. It's always something that they, you know, some very powerful and corrupt people, they want you to believe. This is the kind of stuff that's going on. They get to control the narratives. You know, there's murders that happen every day, but they get to show you and tell you which murders they want you to see and which murders they want you to hear about. So you believe that there's an epidemic or a huge, you know, control the narrative, that you think that there's a certain problem that we all need to, you know, organize and rally against so we can fix this big problem. They can try to influence you to tell you what the problem is. Sri Lanka, you know, they're having political problems over there. There's new. I mean, I'm not sure if there's anything that we need to specifically focus on. You know, again, this was one of the biggest things that happened recently. You know, a 10-year-old daughter was violated. They waited past the 6 weeks allotment in that state or that time period, so they had to travel and cross and go to a different state and cross state boundaries and get an abortion somewhere else. Why did they wait past the 6 weeks? Was this a political movement? And of course, they're trying to distract you from the kind of person who actually violated this 10-year-old girl. Who actually did this? You look into the story. You tell me who actually committed and did this terrible thing to this young little girl. You know, you tell me who did it right here. Look into it. They don't want to tell you. They're not going to talk about that. And then they're going to constantly talk about this Russian and Ukraine type of thing. that is a whole nother ridiculous scandal and situation. I don't get into that here on this channel. Perhaps I should. And you know, Bill Gates is supposedly becoming a philanthropist, as he bought billions of dollars of farmland so he can grow GMOs and control our food supply. Anyways, a lot of this stuff is completely worthless and feeds the narrative. And what I'm trying to say is, start creating your own messages, start creating your own narrative, start actually being an influence, and deplug yourself away. Step away from the noise, step away from the game, the charade that is most of our news and most things that people are paying attention to. It's all a lie. Most of it's all a game. But let's read here and get into a little bit of dating information as we wrap this up. And of course, here at the Daddy Dating Channel, we talk about solutions. We talk about how we can fix the problems, and we talk about things that we can actually do. We are people of action. So let's talk about this. They say nearly half of U.S. adults say dating has gotten harder for most people in the last 10 years. Dating has become more difficult. And I've talked about this as well. We have apps. We have technology. You should be able to contact people all across the world. It should be faster. It should be more convenient. It should be easier to find somebody who is more who's similar to you and who is more like-minded to you, and somebody who actually, you know, is compatible with you. For some reason, technology has made even a bigger divide. Now, technology obviously isn't the problem. Just like our government and us having lots of these problems in regards to our government, the problem is really the people. For some reason, I have been the kind of person who has tried in the past on dating applications to write big bios with all kinds of characteristics about myself. Women often write absolutely nothing, or they just write requirements. They don't talk about who they are or what kind of person they are, and a lot of the times there's not a lot to them. There's not a lot to say about them. So these women, again, get off of dating apps. It's a waste of time for men. The women are going for the top, 10% or even 1% of men, and they're looking to just boost their validation. Even if a woman was to find a very attractive, very wealthy man, she still doesn't want to, feel like she married or got into a relationship off of a dating app. For some reason, that's very taboo to women, because most women, if you don't know, once they walk out their apartment, they go get a coffee, they walk around town, they can be approached by dozens of men. And this happens from women as soon as they're even like 14 or go get into a dating age or whatever it might be. You know, they start getting attention very young, and these women have gotten attention and attraction, and men have offered them their time and money and dates and marriage dozens and if not hundreds of times. So if a woman dates you or gets married to you off of a dating app, that's kind of like low status, because she had to put in extra effort. She had to put in extra work to do that. And she doesn't want her friends and her girlfriends to know that she found you on a dating app. So again, there needs to be a balance of power, or things need to become more balanced, because, women aren't approaching men. I mean, that happens a tiny bit out there, but still, supposedly we care about equality, but most women aren't approaching men, and most women still expect men to, be approaching them, and even on dating apps and a lot of these kinds of things. So in this article, they talk about Americans turn to online dating, and the Me Too movement leaves its imprint on the dating scene. Absolutely. Men are approaching women less and less in public, and they still have this type of attitude and this type of expectation. In my experience, the majority of women don't even have dating apps. They might have had one once or twice. They might have had it as a joke. I've seen it where a woman gets a dating app if she loses a bet. If she loses the bet to her friends, she gets to be mocked and insulted, and then she has to download and use a dating app for a week or something. So dating apps are often like an insult or a joke to women. They don't take them seriously. And that's, to me, the shocking thing. I thought that women would be looking for Mr. Perfect. They'd be looking for somebody who's very compatible with them, somebody who cares about them, somebody who would care for them and love them. But women don't seem to be using dating apps in this way. Men out there, of course, there are lots of men who just want to Netflix and chill. Our society has changed to hit it and quit it, casual fun, casual dating, and it's kind of leading people to be more unhappy. Now, I'm not over here trying to heavily propose marriage or long-term relationships. I do think that leads people to be more happy, but do whatever the heck you want. But that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm about to talk about it here in a second. They say most daters say that their dating lives aren't going well, and it's difficult to find somebody to date. They're simply people who aren't very. They're not finding people who are compatible. For some reason, there's this huge divide. It's more than just women being like more than 20% more likely to be leftist. That there is a huge cultural divide in regards to politics. But there's also a big divide in between cultural norms, because again, women have moved not only more towards leftism, women in general have also moved to be more modern, where they wait to look till marriage till they're 30 or 31 or 32, and then they start looking for Mr. Right after they have their career, after they've had their fun, after they've had their hot girl summers, and that their looks start to depreciate. They start to look for Mr. Right. They think that there should be somebody around their age, maybe 5 years older at most, and they think that Mr. Perfect should be around the corner, who's 6 foot tall, making triple the amount of money that they make, and who's very good in bed, who can satisfy them in the bedroom. So this is what's going on, and it's extremely unrealistic, and there's going to have to be a balance of things. It doesn't seem like women are willing to negotiate or lower their standards. Men out there are still willing to hit it and quit it with just about any woman out there, and men still aren't saying no. Here at the Daddy Dating Channel, I'm trying to get men to say no and to try to bring about this balance of things. Most of modern men, more and more men are becoming virgins. More and more men are invisible or ignored by women. So you saying no and being picky, it just doesn't make sense. Or you feel like you never have any opportunities. Well, the thing is, you don't put yourselves in enough social situations, and when you do put yourself in a social situation, you should be ignoring or rejecting the women who are incompatible with you, and you should, put yourself in the driver's seat to be not only in those situations, but also attractive enough that, women want to date you. But again, it's very hard to be attractive and very hard to get the attention of most modern women. It's their expectations have gone way up, and men are being, again, this is why I made this video. Men are being pushed out of jobs. Men are being excluded. Men are being fired. Men are never getting the jobs in the first place. Men in general are becoming poorer, and women are becoming wealthier. And we're about to have, in the next 10 or so years, you think it's bad enough with women and cat food as it is. We're about to have a huge generation where 30, 40, maybe even 50% of women can't find somebody who they think would be a potential suitor, or somebody who to date, who is attractive enough, wealthy enough, and somebody who has a college degree, somebody of a similar quote unquote social status. There's going to be 50% of women or more of them are going to be very, very unhappy, and it seems like they're not going to blame themselves. It seems like they're never going to blame feminism. It seems like they have no intention of holding themselves accountable, or maybe eventually we'll go back to a situation where women want to have a relationship with one man, but before that happens, it might get worse. We might have harems, or polygamy, and these types of situations. So they continue, and they say among those who are on the dating market, the 15% of American adults who are single and looking for a committed relationship. See, only 15% of people are actually looking for a long-term relationship and or marriage. Most people are just going out for casual fun. And this isn't, this is of all age demographics. This is, only 15% actually want relationships. They're actually long-term relationships. They say while single and looking men and women report equal levels of dissatisfaction, where they're unhappy. They say with their dating lives and the ease of finding people to date, women are more likely to say they have had some particularly negative experiences. Of course, women most affected. Women, of course, have to be the victim. Women, of course, have to say that things are worse for them, and that things need to change, and that they get to be in the driver's seat. They get to shame, and they get to demand how dating needs to change. They got to change everything in regards to feminism. They got to change cultural norms. They're getting rid of your religions. They're getting rid of your cultures. They're getting rid of your traditions. But yet, they're still unhappy. Things still aren't good enough. Women still get they still get to call the shots. They cause these problems. But let's continue. They say most women who are currently single and looking to date, 65%, say they have experienced at least one of 6 harassing behaviors. Of course, harassment. This compares to 50% of men. Again, they're gonna in dating. They're not again in this article. They're not gonna focus on how to get bring people together, how to get people to be happy, how to find somebody who's compatible, or how to have a relationship, or how to have a marriage, or how to have more flings or more fun. They're not going to talk about these kinds of things. They're going to do, article. This is from the PewResearch.org, and this is how people think. And this is an article that, this might seem extremely ridiculous to you, but this is something that is relevant, and this is why I'm talking about this. They start this article off and they talk about harassment. They talk about emotional feelings. And now they're going to talk about long-distance relationships, debt, and voting for Donald Trump as relationship deal breakers. This is what people think about. This is what people, the huge divide. And what people like to talk about as significant things that are problems. They living far away, long distance doesn't seem to be that much of an issue. I don't understand that. Most people aren't having relationships over streams or webcams or phone calls. Debt doesn't even seem that's a lie. They care. I mean, a lot of people consider debt as normal, so maybe there isn't that much of a divide. But debt shouldn't be acceptable. There doesn't seem to be that much of a divide. But if you're not making enough money as a man, that's a problem. A lot of you men don't ask about how much debt women are in. A lot of women seem to like debt. A lot of women seem to accept debt, and if you decide to marry or have a relationship with a woman, she has a lot of debt. Now, in regards to, we're not political here. We don't focus on politics, but voting for Donald Trump, there only seems to, they try to make it a really big issue, but it only seems to be about a 5% difference, at least with these people that they polled. So maybe 5% or more of women are actually think it's a big issue if you voted for Donald Trump or not. Now, some people might be screaming at the screen right now, but most people aren't really as politically active as they pretend to be. They're, if you go to a lot of big cities and major cities, if you go to Portland, Oregon, or San Francisco, California, and you say that you voted for Donald Trump, yeah, they'll hate you. But let's continue on. This is interesting because men need to see this study. They say if a man or somebody who is 10 years older than them, they probably would or already have. You are told and mocked and shamed if you are attracted to that 18-year-old, that 19-year-old, that 20, that sweet little thing. I do think that you should date somebody or marry somebody who's 5 to 10 years, older or younger. It does kind of get crazy when there's a 40 or 50-year-old man dating or marrying somebody who's like 18 or whatever. That can get kind of crazy, but you know, to a lot of cultures, and in the past, it was normal for a 40-year-old man to mate and to date and to marry a 20-year-old woman. That's socially acceptable. And women here and people here, it's pretty darn socially acceptable. Only 36% would say no to somebody who is 10 years older or 10 years younger. And that's probably, you know, I guess 30% of women. You know, there's 30% of men and 30% of women who, of the percentage of society, and they'd be perfectly fine with that. And Republican, it's interesting. People are more focused on if you're a Republican than if you're, you know, a Donald Trump supporter. That's an interesting dynamic. But again, if you, the confident men, the masculine men, the hardworking men, they're often the ones who vote for freedom and justice. I'm not over here trying to support Republicans, but you know, there are feminist women and people who are very open about not dating a Republican, but most people, it's really not that extreme. About only 30% of women would reject you based on that political basis. The same goes for Hillary Clinton, or politics. Race isn't that big of an issue. You only would be possibly excluded by 15% of people. Significantly more or less money. I think that one's skewed, because if you're making if you're a man and you're making significantly less money than the woman, that's a problem. What the woman doesn't want to maybe, again, only 15% of people are looking for marriage or looking for a long-term relationship. So that factors into this as well. Please do take that into consideration. For the people who have strong beliefs, you know, they're more likely to have stronger beliefs if they also want a relationship or a marriage here. So, you know, ethnicity doesn't play that big of a role. They're saying that money doesn't make that much of a difference. But if you want a long-term relationship or marriage, it's 14% difference. And again, only 15% of people wanted a long-term relationship or marriage. That probably is much more significant than they're leading on. So most Americans say it's harder for men to know how to behave in dates because of the Me Too movement. This is something that people need to be talking about. Men do that again. You stripped us away of of culture, of cultural norms. You're stripping away and destroying traditions and cultures, and men. At the same time, you haven't told men what's normal. Well, how do they approach women? How do they talk to women? What's considered normal? What's considered acceptable? Men don't know what they should do. Men don't say how they should act. It's funny, they say men here, especially older men and Republicans, are more likely than women and Democrats to say it's harder for men. Of course, because they're being excluded, and they're being pushed out of society. And they don't bother to tell you why in any of these things. They say premarital experience dating is largely seen as acceptable, but mostly on the first date in open relationships is taboo. So it's kind of funny that a lot of women still don't want to act as if they're easy. They don't want to act as if the man took advantage of them. They want to act as if, you know, the man, you know, he wasn't that seductive, or, you know, to you know, have fun with her on the, you know, the first date. But well, again, we've completely shifted to it's a completely acceptable. It's a completely acceptable. Let's see here. And it seems like a lot of people are much more willing to cheat. Again, I don't know who they interviewed, but this is based on a study based in 2019. It's actually fairly socially it's not completely normal, but it's you know, it's about balance. You're with people sending photos. That used to be completely a taboo. But now it's, you know, there's an equal amount of people who just think it's normal or abnormal to send pictures. To have an open relationship that's completely open, supposedly the majority of people still haven't done that or think that that's just not normal. For you to supposedly be committed with somebody or living with somebody or even love somebody and have like a polyamory type relationship where they can go date or have relationships with other random people. People still kind of think that's kind of strange. So that's some interesting information to think about. This other topic they have here is vast majorities say that breaking up through technology is mostly unacceptable, and few say that they would ghost. You know, everybody wants to sound like they're virtuous. Everybody wants to sound like they're an angel, but it's completely normal for people to do this kind of stuff, especially when people kind of avoid relationships and avoid marriage these days. People ghost all the time, and women do it more than men. I've had it done to me all the time, even if you were dating somebody a couple times. But it's funny that if you ever reject or ignore somebody's text messages or phone calls, women don't like the rejection. I went on one date with a woman, and I think I met her. You know, she was in a social group I was involved with, and you know, like a social circle, and I think I only met her like twice for 30 minutes, and we went on one date, and I didn't even want to go on the date, but her friends and she seemed like she wanted to, and other people seemed like she wanted to. So I wanted, I don't know what kind of person she is, but I didn't like her, and I didn't like the date, and so I didn't ghost her. We didn't have a relationship, and I didn't commit anything to her. I didn't promise her anything. We didn't hold hands. We didn't even kiss. And she was very annoyed, and she texted me and was very unhappy that I had not called her up and asked for another date. It's very funny, isn't it? The social dynamics that go on. The next, they say single people overall report that they don't feel much pressure from society and people to get to know the partner. Again, this is an interesting social dynamic because, again, should there be social pressure or not? Should there be shaming? Should there be social control? I don't think there should, but again, the responsibility is on the individual. I think that people should want to know one another and should have long-term or longer-term relationships. I think that would be healthier. I think that would be better. But the thing is, you're feeling less and less pressure. Some traditional families and traditional parents will still try to pressure their kids to, get to date or marry somebody if you're dating somebody. But that's becoming less and less, that influence is becoming less and less common. If I had sons and daughters, I wouldn't pressure them to get married, but if they were dating somebody, I would expect them to actually care about the person that they were dating, and I would encourage them to, understand who they were, because they might eventually marry this person, or they might potentially have a child with this person, and they should at least understand and know who they're messing with, because there could be consequences. Something could go wrong. It's like, you need to know who you're dating. Single people, it says, overall report that they don't, I've read that single women and men give different reasons for difficulty finding people to date. Women over here say it's harder to meet somebody who meets their expectations. I tell you all this, it's no joke. Women have higher expectations. Women are 20% more likely to say that they can't find anybody who meets their expectations. 20% more likely. They also say hard to find someone looking for the same type of relationship. Women are 20% more likely to probably be looking for commitment or marriage, and hard for them to approach. Men are 20% more likely to say that it's hard for them to know what to do and how to approach and what to say, because again, women might not say it's hard for them to approach, but who's the one actually taking the initiative? Who's the one actually making the choice? Who's the one taking the action? It's still men, the majority of the time. So let's continue on. This article is actually really good, and I encourage more people to do some videos about this. The next point they make is roughly 1 in 10 partnered couples met their partners online, but it's far from common. Yep. It's not very common for you to meet online, I think that meeting online is perfectly fine. I think that it should be more common. I think that technology makes it fast, convenient, and you should be, help you find somebody who's more compatible. Evaluate how compatible the two people are. But people seem that they're meeting through school, 25% or so, college. So that's still a place where a lot of people are meeting. Friends, and family is still really the big. I've told y'all this before on this channel. Meeting through friends and family is still the biggest factor. It's still the biggest factor. No matter who you are, no matter what you believe, getting recommendations out from your own social circle and from the people that you know and the people who probably know you better than anybody else is probably the way that you're going to find somebody who's more compatible with you. So I told y'all that, and it's true. Is it the best way to go about it? Hey, let me know in the comment section. Let me know. I don't know. Maybe there's a better way. But friends and family, you're more likely to trust their choices, and you get that validation. You get that support from your social group. You feel more confident, and they're probably more likely to find and help you out. Half of single adults and a majority of single women are not on the dating market. So they're not looking for a committed relationship or casual dates at all. So 50% of people, they say, are not looking to date at all. That's interesting. I'd like to know the difference between men and women regarding that. Are there more men or are there more women who are just not looking to date at all? Because I think it's more men, because men have really just given up. Women like to talk about how they're victims or the risk, or they're focused on their career. Yeah, there's women like that. But there's a lot of men out there who know that they're not wealthy enough. They just get rejected. They know that they're wasting their time. And there a lot of men in their 20s, they're really not dating as much as you think. They say defining who is partnered and who is single. I'm not going to talk about, get into that, like what is a relationship and what is not. I certainly could make a video about what is engagement, like when people are committed towards a marriage and not, and loyalty, and that's definitely another video to make. But what is the solution? What can we do about all of this? If you are a man and you actually want to date, you need to try to put yourself out there, but it's more important for you to work on yourself. A lot of you men, you're not confident enough on yourself. You haven't found your passion. You haven't found your purpose. You don't know what you believe. You don't know where you want to live, what kind of lifestyle you want. And a woman usually picks you because she's going to want that kind of lifestyle. She's going to see that you have a certain type of lifestyle, a certain type of income, and you meet her standards. So if you're having a really hard time finding somebody who's attracted to you, it's more than just physical. It's more than just money. Wearing nice clothes is a factor, but with wearing clothes, you're also, and what you do and how you speak also kind of shows your kind of your social status and your culture and how you think and how you live. So you men, if you're having a tough time, and fathers again aren't in the households, that's why I made this channel, Daddy Dating Channel. Fathers are not in the households at all. They've been kicked out. They've been divorced, or the fathers in the households are afraid. Are they just a lot of fathers are feminists as well. A lot of fathers are weak, and you haven't been given any advice. You haven't been told anything of value or anything that would help you. So you as a man, you need to know that you need to work on yourself. When you graduate high school, you need to, going to college is probably not worth it. You're going to get into tons of debt. You're going to be, it's going to get difficult to get into the college in the first place. People are, your college degree isn't as important as people tell you it is. It doesn't qualify you for a job as much as you think it'd be. You need to figure out how you can develop your own business, how you can, get into a trade or do a physical job if that's something that you'd like to do. You need to develop skills. You can get training courses like on Udemy. I'm not sponsored, but there are websites and training courses, and you can get your own certificates. You can go and get a certificate and go through a training course and actually have a certificate that proves that you have an ability and proves that you have a skill set and it's really more valuable than a college degree, and that might take you, 3 months to get that certificate. Most big certificates probably won't take you even 6 months, and you could have a certificate that proves that you have that ability, and employers are more likely to respect that. And that's the kind of thing that you need to be doing. You need to, be getting out there and getting experience, and don't let these corporations control you. If you want to have a certain job, and the corporations are rejecting you, why not make your own business? If you keep getting rejected, and you want to get into marketing or have some kind of job or be a movie director, whatever the heck it is, why not make you will have to take some risk. You will have to shoot for the sky sometimes, but you can make your dreams happen. And you need to work on these types of things. And should women look for you or look at you outside of money and outside of status? Yes, they should. But women ultimately still want to build a family. If you are looking for a long-term relationship, they're still going to be looking for money. Even if they have somewhat of a good character, they still want you to be able to provide. And so a lot of you men, these women, their expectations are too high, but you do need to have some success. A lot of these feminist women, they're never going to lower their expectations. They're going to get out of college, and they're going to get jobs where they make $60, $70, $80, $90, $100,000, and they expect a man to be making triple what they make. So they're expecting to find men who make 100, 200, 300,000 or more, and these are average women. Sometimes these are women who are average looking, average height. They might be overweight. They might have a bad attitude, and they're not going to lower their expectations. So you as a man need to know that you have choices, that you can be picky, and that you can build yourself up. If you as a man might not ever make it to 100,000 or 200 or 300,000 to meet those expectations, but you don't have to settle for some terrible woman with a bad attitude or somebody who doesn't respect you. You can keep it casual. You can keep going casual and do it casual. A lot of people are getting into their 30s and 40s now, and they're just casual. They just date casual. All they do is just have flings, and they keep it, and they don't commit, and they don't have marriage, and they don't have kids. If that's what makes you happy, more power to you. But again, there is a satisfaction you can get from having something long term and possibly having a family. But we'll have to see as we go forward in society, if with new studies going forward, if people regret not having children, if women regret not having children, and if maybe this whole this feminist experiment was maybe a mistake. I don't know when they're going to acknowledge that. I don't know how long that's going to take. That might take 20, 30 years in the future. It might take us till 2050 or so until people start acknowledging the consequences and the negative effects of feminism, as, again, women can't find men who are wealthy enough. Men are being pushed out of corporations and jobs. They're being excluded. Men aren't making enough money, and it's women's fault. And women still expect to date wealthy men, and they still don't think they're being paid enough. They still think the wage gaps exist. They still don't think that they have enough political power and influence. And I don't know when this charade is ever going to stop. So, my friends, what you can do, again, is seek your own happiness. Have your own success. Make the world a better place. Spread your ideas. Spread your influence. And also try to find like-minded people. Again, a lot of you men out there are trying to convince yourselves to date feminists, or convince a feminist to date you, or people who just don't care about you, or people who have unrealistic expectations. Find people who have similar opinions and a similar lifestyle and a similar personality. And you might have to go international. A lot of these Western women, they're not going to date anybody who makes less than 100,000, or somebody who's less than 6 foot tall, or and then even if they find these kinds of people, remember that half or more of marriages still end in divorce. Women are still divorcing men who are 6 foot tall. Women are still divorcing men who make over $100,000. Women are still divorcing men who are good in bed. It's women still do this because they find somebody who's taller or wealthier or somebody who makes them feel good. Maybe they got bored. Maybe you work too hard because you're trying to make all that money, and you know how this works. You know exactly how this works if you're familiar with dating and any of this. So men, work on yourselves, improve your life. Don't let people, feminists and people beat you down. Don't let, if you don't believe that men can get pregnant, if you don't believe in multigenderism, don't let anybody try to convince you or tell you that your ideas are wrong. A lot of you men, you don't even want to argue. I understand. You don't even want to debate these people. I understand. I'm not telling you have to, but I'm saying don't let people beat you down, and don't change your opinion just because everybody around you is yelling as loud as they can, or it seems that way. Because again, these transgender, multigender people are screaming so loudly is because they are a minority. They are a minority, and they're trying to take control of, they already have control of most things, but they want more power and they want more control. So, I hope that you'll work on yourself. Don't limit your success. Don't limit yourself. Don't feel like you're a failure and you haven't even started. That's what they want you to do. They want you men to feel defeated. They want you men to never to really become leaders, never really to become that successful. And they would like that, you would hand over the keys to the kingdom that you have earned, and that you've developed the societies, you've developed this culture, you developed this governmental system. You men did all this. And they would like for you to just, sit down and lay down and accept defeat or die. But I know that you men, that you're not going to do that. I have confidence in you. So my friends, please share this video with a friend, a nephew, somebody who would benefit from a message that would encourage them. Women, I love you. I believe in you. I think that you should be treated fairly. I think that you should be respected. And I think that we can come together as men and women. And I hope that you women want to work with men. I hope that you actually want to care about men and work with men, and that you don't listen to these feminists who tell you to be afraid and to to try to steal from men and to exclude men and to shun men and to fire men out of jobs and corporations. And hope that you want to actually work together. I thought that's what feminism was all about. I thought that we were supposed to work together. So I'll end this live here today. I hope that you have a beautiful day, everybody. Have a wonderful one. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share the video, and tell a friend if you enjoyed our video here today. Have a good one. Have a good one. I love you, and I hope that more people will get on board, like my channel, get involved with my channel. I'm providing amazing content, discussions, commentary that the world needs to hear that will benefit not only men, but women out there as well. Hope that you have a wonderful day. Have a good day out there. Succeed. Be a success. I know that you can.